Dave Filoni has become such a renowned storyteller that just over a month ago he was announced as the new chief of Lucasfilm. It's crazy to think that, as of less than a decade ago, his approach to storytelling was exclusive to 3 animated series. In recognition of the spotlight that some of his villains will be receiving in upcoming projects, I thought it'd be fitting to look back and assess how effectively he was able to balance the villains in his directorial debut, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Book 1. I will be doing so using this criteria. Even when just looking at Dave's episodes, most, if not all of the antagonists of Book 1 are associated with one of 2 villains, Zuko or Zhao. While at face value it might look like they want to do the same thing, hunt down the Avatar, their reasons for doing so could not be more different. To Zuko, this is deeply personal to him, as catching the Avatar is the one chance he has to regain his father's love, place in his home nation, and regain his honour. Details like him hunting down a being that, for all everyone knew, had died nearly a century ago, to leaving enemy villagers alone once they were no longer protecting the Avatar, to infiltrating his own nation's fortress and fighting alongside the very enemy he's hunting, emphasises how much everything else is dwarfed by this singular goal. Zhao, on the other hand, is fueled by his obsessive narcissism. He deems catching the Avatar as a chance to improve his own rank and secure a place in history. Not even a day passed after his minions accomplished this goal before he went out of his way to gloat about it to everyone he could. Zuko's ambitions are purely driven by his desire for validation, whereas Zhao's pre-existing self-validation is what drives him to achieve his ambitions. My favourite example of this is in the season finale. Despite Zhao's constant mockery of Zuko's banishment, throwing him a dirty backstab attack after losing a traditional honour duel, repeatedly undermining his hunt out of self-glory, and trying to assassinate him 2 episodes ago, Zuko still tried to save Zhao. Zuko still showed empathy. Despite all the traumatic, negative reinforcement he experienced for expressing compassion, and him telling Zhao after their Agni Kai that he wouldn't hold back next time, Zuko's morality still hasn't been completely quenched. It's still there, albeit misguided, clouded by the burden of his lust to eradicate self-shame. Zhao, however, even when given a second chance to live, refuses to let go of his pride. If rejecting the help of someone who he deems to be a traitorous disgrace results in his own death, then so be it. This refusal encapsulates Zhao's core traits: inflexibility, callousness, and power, all 3 of which embody what the Fire Nation encourage. In spite of the self-shame that clouds him, Zuko defied his culture's rigid doctrines in favour of who he is as a person in this moment, whereas Zhao's personality is solely defined by said rigid doctrines. In the context of the first 2 episodes, the initial impression given is that, under an episodic structure, this season's conflict would almost exclusively depict Zuko giving chase to the heroes before they make their daring escape. While this is no means a bad thing, and has been done well before, the addition of a villain who's just as much of an antagonist to Zuko as he is to Team Avatar forms this conflict triangle, which benefits both the plot and narrative in so many ways. 1. He acts as the lesser villain to both Team Avatar, Zuko and Iroh, before the more sinister and long-term villains such as Azula and Ozai are defeated as a culmination of everything the heroes have endured at the end of the series. Zhao's purpose as a building block means that when these villains show up later down the line, it feels like both the stakes and along with them the characters' capabilities have progressed more gradually. The staggering contrast between Zhao's success, threat level and screen time in Book 1 with the more prominent villains in Books 2 and 3 profoundly highlights to the audience how insignificant Zhao and most of the other Fire Nation individuals are in the grand scheme of things. 2. It's through him that we learn Zuko's current relationship with his nation. From their POV, he's a banished prince, someone who brought shame to their culture. Although this initially raises more questions, this added context, portrayed in the form of mockery, gives us a preliminary answer regarding Zuko's obsession with the Avatar. 3. We gain a better appreciation for the size of the villainous faction's arsenal. It's one thing for Team Avatar to be on the run from the crew of a smaller than average ship, but it's another for them to be met with a seemingly infinite armada of fully armed battleships. So even when Zhao constantly fails, the tension's still there when the Season X catches up with him, due to the military influence he possesses. 4. By consistently failing to beat Zuko and Iroh, it maintains the threat that those two pose in retaliation to them losing to Team Avatar, without compromising the journey of the heroes. 5. It adds a layer of unpredictability and thus chaos into the mix, something that is wonderfully captured in the Blue Spirit. Zuko not only wants, but has to be the one to bring the Avatar to the Fire Lord so desperately. He will help the one person in the world who could defeat his nation in this 100-year war escape. The instance of him acting against his own nation urges us to ponder when, where, and how often this unorthodox behaviour will repeat itself going forward. Likewise, since by this point in the season we're still given hints as to what Zhao's next move will be, there's that element of wondering what tricks he's still got up his sleeve come the finale. External factors that the heroes have little control over puts us in their shoes to a degree, which adds a subtle feeling of vulnerability. And 6. It brings out a whole new perspective to Zuko. Whilst from the main character's perspective, yes, he's still their antagonist, the cruel way he is treated by members of his own nation in this book alone evokes empathy on some level. Zhao's hubris is an inadvertent catalyst for the resurfacing of Zuko's dormant morality. In most episodes they come face to face in, including Filoni's, Zuko possessing some semblance of honour sets him apart from the nefarious Fire Nation, who Zhao is among, in the minds of audiences. Generally speaking, including villains who are unaffiliated with each other can bring up fascinating questions like, well, what does it mean to be a villain? And the difference between understanding them and agreeing with them to varying degrees. When looking at Zuko's character arc as a whole, drawing attention to this new perspective is crucial for convincing the audience that he might deserve a chance at redemption in the following books. Overall, when it comes to Avatar: Last Airbender Book 1, instead of disrupting the story's cohesion, the inclusion of another villain enhances the tension, contributes to the world building, and offers a deeper look into the psychology of arguably the most complex character in the entire series. While not done alone, Dave Filoni's involvement in preserving this outcome merits credit. And looking forward at his following stories throughout his career, my thoughts aren't all that different. Whether it's the contrast in compassion between Maul and Savage, mindset between Thrawn and Price, and pursuit of power between Balin and Shin, the attention he gives to almost every antagonist or anti-hero is just one of many reasons why his stories resonated with numerous fans, including myself, and at the end of the day, led to his ascension